Nancy Shrew, Charles.
The art department triumphs again.
Oh, damn it.
What?
Disconnecting. What is it talking about? No, we didn't try to disconnect anything. Okay, no, we're good. I think we're still going. Look at this. We have inflatable dinghies doing some strange stuff.
Thank you for bringing me to your yacht. I mean, you've been very secretive about having this yacht, but I guess we're going to see it for the first time.
Inflatable dinghy yacht.
Right. But yeah, Nancy Shrew, Defective. When I was a kid, Nancy Drew stories were still popular, but it was in those days the girls would read the Nancy Drew stories,
right.
And the boys would read
Party
whatever.
Boys.
And I remember that was one of the early episodes when, you know, I don't know if you had this at your school, but I'm pretty sure you probably did with, you know, the Weekly Reader and Scholastic and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The teacher would come and say, you know, take this home and discuss it with your parents, but you can order what, you know, from this list what books you want. And my parents said to me, you know, take a look at this, Charles, and you can have whatever you want. So I looked at it, I checked every single book.
Wow.
And, you know, my mother kind of looked at me, my father, and they talked amongst themselves, and they said, fine, you can do that.
And if you read them all, then...
Absolutely. I read them in like the first day. It was probably, or 2 days. It was, these were not the big fat books. These were like, you know, when you're...
I remember Scholastic.
Yeah.
Well,
and I remember that order cost something like $6 back in, you know, 1962 or something like that, which would be a fair amount of money today, actually. But they seemed interesting to me. I didn't care if it was about a girl or not. And I don't know whether kids today, they probably don't read Nancy Drew Detective books.
I think it's movies and everything now. And
I think it's TikTok.
Well, it's become an international incident thanks to maybe the second stupidest person in our government getting over there.
But Nancy Pelosi, got distracted there for a second.
Oh, yeah.
Nancy Pelosi is hopeless.
She's worse than that.
I mean, you were saying something about I didn't hear her deliver this
right.
mumble jumble thing.
Well, let's talk about it. Before we get too into things, I want to make sure that people know they can follow the show outside of YouTube on Rumble, on Odyssey. It's really important that people follow and share on those alternative platforms. There's a concerted effort, Charles, to shut down everything that I'm doing on YouTube, to shut down Crowdsource the Truth, to terminate the business. I'm encouraging people to become sponsors on subscribestar.com/crowdsourcethetruth and patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth. And it's important because there are forces pushing in the other direction. I spoke about it pretty extensively last night on the counter lawfare report, but there was so much to talk about. I'm going to have another episode tonight that sponsors will be able to watch. And also, Charles, I'm starting a new initiative to get people to sponsor the counter lawfare fund. I'm going to release a limited edition poster of the wonderful Knockout in Motor City graphic from last night's show. And the only way to get it will be by sponsoring the Counter Lawfare Fund on crowdsourcethetruth.org. We're by the heliport here.
Yeah, this is those ads you see all over TV here for Blade. This thing decades ago when it wasn't Blade. Also flew out of the one over on the east side, and flew out of the one. I flew out of the one on Pan Am Building as well.
That is baller.
That was.
You can't do that anymore.
No.
But Nancy made this speech that made Joe Biden look smart. I mean, first of all, Nancy Pelosi is 80.
82.
Unbelievable. But I mean, that is full-on grandmother age. Honestly, very few people. Let's stay away from insults for a moment and just be serious, because very few people are able to work into their 80s, particularly in a demanding job that has you traveling internationally. But let's just wait a second. It's a little loud. But my point is, you know, there's certain people who need to realize when their work and career is done and it's time to retire and let somebody else take over.
Right.
So Nancy is 82. and not really very capable. She strikes me as someone who has probably had too much to drink throughout the course of her life. She shakes all the time. And her speech, she was talking about, I believe she was trying to quote Benjamin Franklin, who said, "Those who would sacrifice liberty for security deserve neither." But she said something to the effect of, well, you know, our presidency, Benjamin Franklin said, security and liberty and democracy, they're all there. And you can't have one without the other. They're all together. It's like, Nancy, what the hell are you talking about? Get that drunk old lady off the stage.
That's right. I mean, I should have thought of this before. We should have had Nancy Drew Defective and then a tagline underneath it, bullshit in the China shop.
Exactly.
Because, I mean, what her performance was, I think it's arguably far worse than when George Bush vomited on the emperor or the prime minister or whatever he did.
I agree.
Of Japan, because at least Japan didn't turn around and say, "That's it, we're going to take that Pearl Harbor again," you know.
Well, he got sick, and people are like, "Okay, that was embarrassing."
No, it was projectile vomit in the middle of a banquet into the lap of the leader of the country or the emperor or, you know, whatever it was.
But it's not a planned. It's not like he decided to do that.
No, I know, but we do have medical doctors. He was the president of the United States. He should have been checked. I mean, it's not the normal thing. It just that stuff doesn't happen without a little bit of a warrant.
Good.
But in this case, she goes over there and is now triggered. What could be? They're talking about, you know, World War III.
Yeah.
Who knows what's going on right this minute?
Well, they said China's launching missiles over Taiwan and flying jets and all kinds of stuff.
Well, but right now it's approximately 3:30 or 3:15 in the morning. Around there, it might be a little bit different than that, but anyway. So we really don't know what operations. We don't know right now what operations are happening. Worried that was they're getting ready to drone strike us.
Sorry.
So it could well be that, I mean, China has saying they're doing this in consequence of the visit, but China has sent a whole bunch of planes across what was an arbitrary air border, something they hadn't done before. They're claiming that they're rehearsing now to take, to reunify, take control of Taiwan. They're going to send
missiles. I think it's clear they're going to.
They're going to send missiles above the island, across the island. And what's our defense? We've got your back. Just ask our allies in Afghanistan. Don't worry, Taiwan. We wouldn't let you down.
But Charles, if you went to a sales presentation for somebody trying to get you to get on board with something, to invest in something, and it was Nancy Pelosi quivering with the delirium tremens and talking about nonsense that doesn't make sense even if you can't speak English, would you have any confidence in that at all? You would sell all shares just immediately upon leaving the meeting.
Right, probably in the middle of the meeting. But no, it's like the time that B-Rock was down in South Africa for that funeral. And the signer, the person doing the sign language, was not making any sense whatsoever. That's Nancy Pelosi talking.
Right.
He's related to that signer.
There's the circle line, Charles.
Yeah.
What is that about again? It's just a tour?
Circle around the city.
It's got to be boring as hell. Why not just ride the Staten Island ferry?
I think I've done it once. I just really don't like being on a boat like that, having to listen to endless trivia.
How is this ocean breeze plan working for you?
Not so well.
Yeah, I think we should dip into the city and get some shade from buildings.
Okay.
But people get to see the beautiful Hudson River there. It is a very nice day. It's a little hot.
Well, it would have felt better if you'd worn a jacket.
Yeah, exactly.
See, the whole plan is you get hot under the jacket, then you take the jacket off and you cool down more rapidly.
That's true. But I mean, I'm thinking about this down to what's the thickness of the t-shirt that I'm wearing. Last week I wore one too thick, so I got a thinner one. I don't know how you do it in the...
I'm stoic.
The Yale...
I do this just to pretend that I'm fine, and I go back and jump into the coldest possible shower, fill a bathtub filled with ice cubes.
Is this tennis? What is this?
I have no clue.
You have a Bactine tank like Boba Fett that you soak in after
Exactly right.
restore the...
Well, I'm afraid we're stuck until past this, right?
This is the Javits.
Yeah, we can't go into the Javits now.
Are they monkeypoxing in there yet?
That's so stupid. Did you see that San Francisco is having this aggressive gay event? Did you see this?
Aggressive gay?
Well, yeah, it's a gay rave, basically, and the title of it is Up Your Alley.
Oh my God!
Hey,
It's the monkeypox extravaganza.
It's a monkeypox super spreader. You know, we walked in here before.
The Michael J. Pox Foundation?
I mean, it's just outrageous.
Yeah, we have been in there. I don't understand what they're doing.
They're
with
open.
That. But what is it? It's nothing.
I think it's just a venue for concerts and things. But you're absolutely right. It is getting a little. Whose crazy idea was this anyway?
So yeah, Nancy Pelosi's a total idiot. Finally, I was saying yesterday, nobody on the news, you know, everybody I was seeing on Fox, and obviously CNN and everything else, was saying like, oh, Nancy has the right to go wherever the hell she wants, F China, they deserve to be disrespected. It's like, what the hell are you talking about?
Right.
You might dislike them, but they got a lot of big guns pointed right at us, and I don't know that disrespecting them, I mean, it's like there's tons of people in Washington Square Park who deserve to be disrespected, but going and actively doing it doesn't seem to have much of an upside.
If you're going to poke an elephant, you okay?
Yeah, we just
If you're going to poke an elephant in the eye, you better remember that the elephant is 4 times your size.
That's what I'm saying.
And, you know, but I think the issue is that so many people in both parties, apolitical, academic, investment types, business types, not-for-profits, so many people have been paid off, are being paid off by China, that we're just being manipulated into subservience. We're being manipulated willingly.
I mean, it's kind of too late, right? If they take over this Taiwan semiconductor foundry, you're not going to be able to buy a new car, computer, phone, washing machine, refrigerator, name some other, toaster. You know, all of this stuff has, if you open it, I mean, even a battery charger, it's got a little PCB with chips on it, and 90% of that is coming from TSMC in Taiwan. So they'll take that over. We will be brought to our knees. What we're experiencing right now in terms of inflation will be just the beginning, and China will just own everything. What do you think of this, Charles? This is like, I think, the ventilation for the, I guess, the Lincoln Tunnel.
Is it?
I think so.
That's some good, sweet-smelling air, I'm sure.
Well,
tacos on a boat. Maybe that's Nancy's idea. Or that was Joe Biden's idea.
that's going to be Jill, yeah.
Speaking of incompetence, I love the turnover across the Biden administration. It's just nobody wants to work.
Who quit now?
Everybody's quitting. This staff, that staff, another person.
Wow.
So it's going to be a little cooler in here for a second. Now
I mean, Anthony Blinken at least can form sentences sometimes.
Again, a chain is as strong as its weakest link. And you have the president who tested stupid for COVID again.
Yeah.
You have Kamala Harris, who's in charge of making word salads, and she issued another word salad that across the spectrum people are making fun. It's just so stupid. I mean, she must believe that what she's saying is adding value, when instead she's just making no sense whatsoever.
Yeah. Now, I guess you can also get the boat to New Jersey here.
Yeah.
I think
It's quite
that's
a
the
vista,
terminal.
actually. Is that your yacht there?
Yeah, that's the New York waterway or something, isn't it? My New Jersey yacht.
Yeah, you keep this on the west side, and you got the other one on the east side over there on 23rd
That's the
Street.
Eat Tacos on the New Jersey yacht. No, that's the New York waterway.
That one or that one?
This thing over here on the left, I think. It's actually a pretty, compared to the other ways to do a commute, it's not bad.
Oh yeah, I have friends who commuted in the day in from not Jersey Shore, but from Red Bank and that area to
Yeah.
Wall Street on the ferry at like 45 minutes an hour every morning.
Yeah, it's pretty fast.
Well, if you're working on the trading floor, you get in, you leave early, you leave early to get to the city, and you leave right when the markets close. You can be home playing tennis at a country club at 6 p.m.
Yeah, the life.
Well, you can. But yeah, this when I think what this was like 30 years ago, and look at this now, mind you, the stuff right here has not been fixed up yet. The stuff north of us has, the stuff south of us, some of it has.
Well,
but
you got
that
the whole
sort of a modern skyline is
Yeah.
going to continue.
Hudson Yards. Is it going to continue up this way?
Supposedly.
Oh man. Well,
I don't know who's going to buy any of it, but
Chinese people.
I don't know about that. The Chinese real estate market is being destroyed. So back though on this whole progression, my understanding of the way foreign visits work is they're negotiated. You saw Nancy got the highest order that Taiwan can give out, the meritorious order of the Brussels sprout.
Drunkest old lady ever.
Worst plastic surgery experiment in the history of
Right.
science. But anyway, she gets this order. So my point is there would have been a lot of back and forth between them and among participants in it. And, for all the huffing and puffing, I don't see that China has done anything that devastating yet.
Well, I mean,
And
they
in
didn't
part-
nuke or anything.
Well, in part because as I've been with Gordon Chang a lot on John Batchelor talking on Batchelor Radio. Is that a Mexican song?
Well, I was going to say, I really enjoy the humongous inflatable lobster, but you can barely see it.
That's Nancy. Nancy sunbathing.
That's an ineffective advertising campaign.
You think?
Because it's like, what is that?
Made you think. But
So they gave her the drunkest old lady.
but the point is that
Award.
as Gordon is the expert and I'm just an observer on this, that when you look at the macroeconomic data on China, as we discussed in your studio a couple weeks ago, it's really bad. I mean, they're in much worse shape today, China is, I think, economically, than Japan was in 1990. And Japan has not come back from its overinvestment, its debt finance overinvestment in stupid projects. And I think China's in the same place. They built too many phantom cities, and
Fake Paris.
and as in the case of Japan, I mean, I remember my father served briefly in the Navy at the very end of World War II, and he's not a very militant individual, to say the least. But he's
Still
not,
won't eat sushi.
Well, he'll eat it, but I mean, I
Spit it
know people of his generation who are just, they will not even, they don't want to hear about a Japanese car or
Right.
a Japanese restaurant or whatever, because of the war crimes that the Japanese committed, particularly in places like Corregidor and other theaters that battle. There's really bad feeling. And the Chinese, I'm not saying they're committing war crimes, but they have a very one-sided approach to doing business with people.
Right. Give us
And-
what we want,
Or we're going
and then
we'll give you some
change
money.
the deal after.
Don't look at the fine print, and when you miss your first loan payment, we'll take everything you own.
Right.
Much more than we lent you. And so that's what they've been doing, I think, in places like Panama and across Africa. I'm game to go east whenever you are.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe right there.
Do we want to look at the aircraft carrier?
Sure,
at all?
yeah. This is your boat. You're being really modest.
Yeah.
This is just you really like the gadgets. So you got the fighter planes.
I am surprised that no, Al-Walid type grotesque billionaire has purchased some decommissioned aircraft carrier and turned it into a giant yacht to land a private jet on.
Well, I don't know anybody who's done that, but I know somebody who is a billionaire who bought, the guy who owns Spy Magazine, his name is Jean Pagazzi. He bought a large, very large fishing trawler, so big that it had in the middle of it, it had,
A winch?
well, more than which, it had places, he had boats inside.
Pick-up boats, yeah.
Inside his own big boat.
Yeah, yeah.
It was so big it couldn't get into the harbor at Lyford Key, which has some 200 foot boats, I think.
Should have bought the harbor and expanded
You
it.
can't do that.
Pay more.
Some things
Some things are not for sale, were you about to say, Charles?
Yeah, I told you. But I won't identify my friend by name, but he was asked by David Geffen to, if Geffen could buy this yacht, which was like worth 250 million or something, a very big thing. And so my friend went to, on behalf of Geffen, went to the owner of that and said, look, I've got this guy who wants to give you 250 million for this ship you never use.
And he said no.
No, she said, I'd rather have a ship that I never really, than 250 million that I really don't need.
Right.
You know? So there are people, very few people like that.
Oh boy, look at this. We've got transgender storage now.
Oh God.
Hey, you know.
Whatever.
Exactly.
See how this is really dangerous.
So,
you move quickly, you can't hear it.
I think we have AWACS up there on the... Is that an AWAC with the...
And Nancy, we have whacked. Oh, is that the Chinese flag? I think it is.
That's the Chinese embassy there.
Is it?
Is it? Yeah. No. That's where I got my visa to go to China.
There's the Chinese embassy?
It goes all the way halfway up the block there.
Will we walk by it?
Yeah, let's go over there. We'll cross and we'll go in front of it. There used to be...
Give us any advice? I have some friends in Taiwan, and are they safe?
There used to be a lot of Falun Gong protesting there, but I think like in regular China they killed them.
So how does this work exactly? You work in the Chinese embassy and then you go bowling?
Well, I think there is a whole apartment building there. It's a strange. We'll look at it. It's different than any other consulate that I have been in. And also, you had to leave your passport with them for a kind of unusually long period of time.
Oh, sure. They got to copy it, make it, a counterfeit one.
To get the
figure out where you've been, put all the insert all the tracking devices into your passport.
I don't know. That passport has expired now.
Was that a soft expiration or we'll go?
It expired in June. I had sent it in to be renewed, and they didn't like the photos. I think they were slightly overexposed. We have Ansel Adams working at the passport department, but I mean, I had to pay a place, and I just haven't gone back there and get that redone.
Yeah, now if you didn't know that we were in Manhattan, you probably wouldn't guess that this is Manhattan.
It's She-Hatton? They Hatton.
Biologist Hatton.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's the...
So how does the Circle Line get to put an advertisement saying
Weed World going to Westchester?
America's favorite boat ride? Where's the evidence for that?
They made that up. There was a place in LA that was a hamburger restaurant that said probably the best hamburger in the city. And I was like, well, a lawyer has obviously reviewed this.
That's funny.
Compliance won't let us say it's definitely the best.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is the compound here. When was this built, do you know?
No clue, man.
I mean, it's pretty new. Look at this super duper steel reinforced garage.
It's so Hunter can have his parties.
Yeah, but this is a fortress here.
Yeah.
So here, it says, Consulate General of the People's Republic of China.
It's actually not that much of a fortress. I mean, you could come right through here with a big truck.
But it's all stone.
No, right through the door.
I have a feeling that look at the gate.
I know, but if you sent
missiles,
a truck filled with who knows what,
you're not going to be able to get that much speed. You'd have to make a hard right turn.
We're already at 42nd Street. I thought this was 34th here.
I guess
here's another security
guard. Bowling here.
So we go.
Silver Towers.
Since when are strikes? Maybe let's go across the street. This guy's
following us?
Yeah.
What?
Let's go, Jason.
Yeah, whatever. That guy. We're on the sidewalk. We can film whatever the hell we want. If China doesn't like it, they can come out here and try and do something.
Yeah, which they might do.
Fuck them. It's like, you want an international incident, Mr. China? Forget about Nancy Pelosi.
Here's the police right here.
Yeah, because they're probably expecting, I don't know, some disruption of Chinese
traffic cops.
It's the traffic cops, so they're probably just texting.
Let's go in this way.
Well, we're going to jaywalk right in front of the traffic cops.
Why not?
I don't mind.
Yeah. I just want to get in the shade.
I hear you. It is roasting.
Because our producer had us go out there to the river. What a fucking idiot. Actually, it was me. I was an idiot to do that. I thought we'd get a nice breeze.
No, it was a decent idea. It's strange what's going on with the weather because it's kind of cool in the mornings and then heating up in the afternoon.
Right.
So this is, Kings of Kobe.
Probably pretty good.
Yeah, that does sound intriguing. But this is a relatively new apartment building.
This whole complex is, yeah.
Yeah,
And this is, I believe, landfill, right?
I don't know.
I think it probably is.
Looks like an apartment building to
In
me.
January, I think we were over here in the November time frame or whatever when it was cold.
Right.
And then this wind and 20 degrees Fahrenheit.
It's nice right now.
It's beautiful now, but in the winter it's brutal. So back on Nancy's wrecking crew trip, we have Linda Graham and the Rhinos commending her for going out
That's
there.
what I mean. They're all on top of it. Like, she should do what she wants.
The Chinese are very good at routing payments to foundations and other things that then turn around and route the intermediary routes stuff to the politician families.
Well, maybe that's what the whole trip and the whole NVIDIA purchase is all about.
Could well be.
Because they were saying that Paul Pelosi is being arraigned or sentenced or whatever.
Right now.
And
Or
they
tomorrow.
changed the judge at the last minute.
Right.
Charles, this is one of the biggest problems we face is shenanigans in the federal judicial, or just the entire judicial system. I mean, this is what I was talking about last night on the counter lawfare report. It's not about me and my lawsuits. That's just the example by which I'm learning how tangibly corrupt these things are. And people have an opportunity when they subscribe to subscribestar.com/crowdsourcethetruth or patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth and get on there. They have an opportunity to see the evidence for themselves and draw their own conclusions.
Well, I always try to focus on the number side of things, which doesn't mean it's the right thing to do, but that's what I do. And so the number side of things is that the world economy today is about 100 trillion in annual output. And on the world economy, we have about 250 trillion of debt.
How could the world economy have debt? Who do they owe it to?
Well, if you just take all the output of the world off the UNCTAD data and all the debt of the world and add it up, that's what it looks like, according to some analysts. And it used to be that you were a basket case as a country if your debt was equal to your output.
Huh. Now you're not even in the game if you're...
Well, the whole world is at that level. And so the game here, I think, these idiots who hold themselves out as experts, and the people like Shitwater Gates, Bill Gates, and the Rockefellers, and all these other people who are promoting unregulated one world government, what they really want to do is keep workers poor.
Right.
And move towards a no security state for the individual, where they kick you off YouTube, they silence you, they cancel you,
destroy your livelihood.
they destroy your livelihood, they maybe take away,
Destroy your public reputation.
take away your ability to have a bank account, a securities account. So they're all for that. And I think the bigger story here is that we have been sold a bunch of garbage by by people who pretend to be experts who have been proven wrong. I mean, you think about this complete moron, Paul Krugman, Nobel Prize winner, New York Times columnist, you know, who gets up in the crucial moment when people, were suspicious of the big...
Whoa! That bug just totally flew right on you. It jumped from the ground right to you. I was like, what is that? And then it leapt on you.
It's a Charles
Krugman did what?
Charles-seeking bug. Well, at the crucial moment when the policymakers were trying to reassure everybody that all this Biden spending on top of the Trump spending wasn't going to lead to inflation, Krugman says, well, inflation is going to be transitory. Yellen says it's going to be transitory. A whole bunch of people say it's going to be transitory. Those people ought to go work for transit systems.
Right.
Thank you for contributing to the beautification of New York.
She seemed to be having a nice day with the dog.
throwing garbage in the sidewalk.
Oh, was she? I didn't notice
why
that.
I
I was
said
looking
watch.
at her feeding the
No,
dog.
no, I said, watch out for your feet. She was making a mess. But anyway, and you know, the same people, these McKinsey consultants, these Rhodes Scholars, these presidents, these national leaders, college presidents, thought leaders, anchors, opinion makers, all say, oh yeah, don't worry, just ship all these jobs out of this country and you'll be able to buy beach balls more cheaply because they're made in China, where they're not going to pay their workers anything. Don't worry about that hollowing out
Right.
the national economies where you live. Don't worry about how it's much more complicated to manage an international business where you're dependent on sourcing from a hostile nation controlled by the Chinese Communist Party.
That could pull the rug out at any moment.
And just don't worry about that. Don't worry about the fact that when you set up these enterprises the way McKinsey wants you to do it, you've now got to juggle multiple currencies, multiple inputs, multiple time zones, and just putting all this information together into financial statements that are accurate is very hard. On top of which, you got to worry about intellectual property theft, and it was a stupid.
Yeah, and it's coming home to roost now, and I think it might be too late to fix.
Well, the good news is, it's like we're in a place where you go to these, you see these things from time to time, and they're horrific. Where let's say it's a circus, or it's some kind of outdoor rodeo or something, and there's
Tractor pull.
Well, there's people in the stands, and they're watching the action, and the entire stands come to everybody.
Oh, that was in Spain. I saw
Well,
that.
it's happened all over the place. But that's what's going on now. There isn't a large economy in the world that's doing well.
Huh.
I mean, really well. We're doing okay.
Less bad than others.
But China is, to see Chinese people en masse stopping payment on their mortgages because they're dissatisfied with what's going on. I mean, it's a major development to see that kind of really, I don't know what you call it, conformed societal disobedience. I mean, it's very unusual in the Chinese culture to see that.
So what do you think it's going to do?
And I got some other vectors. The other problem is that we're seeing a decline in population growth, and not a decline in growth, a decline in population, and a big decline across many countries, hastening after the COVID-19 lockdown.
Well, this is why Elon Musk keeps banging all of his workers.
He can get away with it. He can afford
A lot of kids.
exactly, and a lot of alimony or palimony, or whatever he has to pay.
Lawsuits.
But the problem is when you have an economy that's at 100 trillion with 250 trillion of debt on it, and suddenly you can't assume that sales will go up in real terms because the population is declining, and worse, the population is aging. So,
And broke.
and I'm sure you've noticed this now at your advanced age, now that you've reached 40.
10 years ago.
Whatever, I'm just trying to give you the benefit of the doubt.
Thank you.
It's supposed to be a compliment. Anyway, certainly in my case, as I age, I change my consumption patterns.
Absolutely.
Right, and you don't change them in ways that are good for an economy.
Yeah, you become a little bit more
You don't go out.
reserved, right?
You start downsizing where you live. And you start thinking about, maybe I'll live to be 110. I better start saving more money.
Well, right, for me, it's a little bit more like, okay, when I was 30 and blew all this money, that worked badly, so let me be a little bit more conservative with the money I have and
Put it all on red. Like I said.
to give it all to lawyers.
Right. So here we are in the state of the Democratic Party midterm election avenue.
Yeah.
Dire.
Well, now somebody came out and said it's a 55% chance.
It's probably Paul Krugman's cousin.
Yeah.
People who say that they're
that
oblivious.
the Dems will hold.
Well, actually, oftentimes it's the rich liberals who get religion when they see that suddenly their wealth has gone down.
Right,
They're violent when they get mugged. Like there's some guy who runs something called Prologis, which is a very large real estate company out in San Francisco, and he had his Patek Philippe watch
Right.
stolen off his hand, and
Which
so
is
he's
like $50,000 or something, right?
right, and he's gone all ripshit and whooping up on the mayor and threatening to leave California and who knows, maybe even the country. When people like that understand how badly they've been ripped off by these supposed experts, there can be quite a turning. Yeah, and you see, I'm actually seeing that. I like to put in a brief plug for my Substack. My name, charlesortel.substack.com. We're building subscribers. I haven't produced any content for it yet because I want to make sure I've got legal and other angles covered carefully before I start doing that. But the number of some of the most popular writers on Substack are red-pilled progressives and liberals. People like Barry Weiss, Glenn Greenwald, who's the guy?
Berenson.
Yeah, Berenson from the New York Times. I forget if Naomi Wolf is on that or not. I think she is. So it's starting to be cool to question progressive intolerance and quotes orthodoxy, especially in face of evidence which shows that all these projects they've tried are worse than garbage. They don't work.
Along those lines, Charles, I think Variety or something was saying
Let's
that
wait and take a pause.
Larry Ellison is now the biggest Republican donor.
It wouldn't surprise me.
That's what they said.
It wouldn't surprise me because what was appealing, it's always appealing to hear a younger person who supposedly has done well somehow come and say, I've got a way of looking at something that's unique and different, and you really ought to give it a chance because the status quo very frequently gets tired and stale and lazy. Let's look at this differently. So most people who study history and are not perpetually, a member of Nancy Pelosi's church, Our Lady of being perpetually drunk and stupid, are receptive to new ideas, but the wokesters are not. It's their way or the highway. And if your idea was so good, it likely would be
working.
It would be embraced.
Yeah.
You shouldn't need to say, well, if you dare to question this, we have to cancel you. You dare to disagree, we have to cancel you.
Mandate things.
Obviously, there's something wrong. So here people get a sense, I hope, we started on 12th Avenue, we're now at 9th. You see how long these crosstown blocks are, particularly in Midtown here, 42nd Street.
Here's a Turkish restaurant, I guess.
I can leave you here if you'd like to have dinner.
Nah, I don't know if I like,
I'd go to a
shawarma
Turkish restaurant in Istanbul or in Turkey. I bet you the food is fantastic.
This just looks like a fast food kind of place.
What makes you think that, Jason?
Yeah. 99-cent.
Inflation killed that one.
Oh, it's gone. Yeah, that's surprising. These don't usually close.
But the bong shop is still there, thriving.
Yeah, they open in pairs,
Now,
pizza and bong.
What happened to your frequent stay points here at this hotel?
Yeah, the loyalty program ran out. Well, the good news actually is the loyalty from Marriott allowed me to cancel the hotel without having to pay.
Oh, good.
Because I was, in an alternate metaverse, Charles, in the Doctor Strange multiverse of madness, some version of Jason would be driving to Detroit right now. Thankfully, that's not me.
Well, I know you really have this addiction for cars and Motor City and rock and roll in Detroit. You love the deep dish Detroit pizza.
I do actually like Detroit pizza.
So
they used to have a great Detroit pizza restaurant here in New York, but of course it closed.
that's sacrilege. Get Detroit pizza in New York?
They didn't call it Detroit pizza. It was a fancy Italian restaurant that made these really pretty, super amazing pizzas.
You think this place is really a model of efficiency?
Does it say that it is?
Well, it's the Times Square station for New York.
I've never been in there.
Monday window service from 10 to 5:30.
Well, they don't want to work too hard. I thought Dianne Feinstein's husband was going to sell all the post offices.
He would still be dead.
Didn't he do something with the post office?
He got a sweetheart deal. His post office had a lot of surplus real estate, and one of his firms got a sweetheart deal to be the broker, exclusive agent selling a whole bunch of that real estate on terms that were never really fully understood. more likely negotiated.
When will this end, Charles? I mean, Nancy's buying NVIDIA stock and then doing crap.
I think when people just
Taiwan.
have had enough. I mean, there are many. I'm not I'm not advocating violence. I'll never do that. But when you look here and you say, as one of our viewers sent me an email, I'm not going to say who it is on air, saying that he didn't like the beginning of the show on Sunday with that guy in the wheelchair and the altercation, to stop watching.
What did he not like about it?
I want to go in a different direction. I'll tell you afterwards. But my point is, I wrote back and I said, that's a real shame. You should watch it, because once we get past the opening period, when we walk through the park and we saw the extent of the home, and the people who haven't watched that video from last Sunday really should watch the whole thing. It shows, after we get away from the arch, we go into the worst part of the park, walk along a path, and there's literally one person that's set up a tent.
It's a heroin den.
A heroin den with these other people zoned out, garbage everywhere, and the 8 cops are trying to arrest a beggar in a wheelchair.
Right. This is why I went to speak with the 6th Precinct yesterday, and hopefully we'll get a meeting with the commander or whatever that dude was to go to the park and walk around. I mean,
but my point is that if we can look at numbers, we can see how much is being spent on government, and this is not like Haiti yet, where no money is available for government. We are spending trillions, literally $7, $8, $9 trillion
and they're raising it
on government, and then every time there's a problem, well, we didn't know about that. We couldn't have seen that. We don't have the resources to fix that, is their argument. On everything. We saw that in Washington Square Park. We see that when it comes to hurricanes and other natural disasters. There's the Screw York Times. And I think we really have reached a tipping point where the ordinary person is now going to suffer not actual death, but financial death by 1,000 cuts.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Right. Well, I'm talking about every time you go shopping, every time you go and have to buy anything or think about making any type of a commitment, you find out that your assets are worth less, your debts are mounting, and the cost of doing what you thought you could do is skyrocketing, and nobody seems to care.
Well, what do you mean nobody?
None of the people in power
doing anything.
Understand that part of the reason we're in this mess is we've been borrowing money we don't have to pursue projects that enrich the politicians and their families, but actually harm the population.
At our expense, right?
Yeah. And
hey, look, we have people going to the movies.
IMAX, yeah.
You're rushing out to see Thor: Love and Thunder?
Diets start tomorrow.
What starts tomorrow?
Diets start tomorrow. Absolutely no nutritional value added. That must be a project of Hunter Biden's.
Oh, it's sugar. I guess it's a candy place.
That's probably, Elizabeth Warren is the financial director of that program. Joe Biden's the inspiration.
This is another Dipping Dots. They opened one of these on 23rd Street. Captain Cookie and the Milkman.
That's the best you can do. I mean,
wow.
And I know your first date, when you really try to impress somebody, you bring him to Applebee's.
Take him to Captain Cookie.
Dave at Buster's. Then you go to Madame Tussauds afterwards.
Charles, I think it's a clever play on Captain Cook. I just figured that out.
Wow. Don't admit it.
Yeah. I actually figured it out the second I saw it.
Nobody heard you say that, right?
Nah, probably not. So the other thing that's important to tell everybody is that, the biggest constraint right now is that the disinformation governance sphere keeps destroying Crowdsource the Truth properties, and it prevents these videos that you and I are doing from getting taken up by the YouTube recommendation engine. So far fewer people are seeing these videos. If people are feeling like they don't want to or can't become sponsors, or if they're already sponsors, or whatever they feel about that, It can help the show a lot if people just click the thumbs up button and like it. And if you're watching now and you're not subscribed, if you subscribe to the YouTube channel, or if you go to Rumble or to Getter or to Odyssey and subscribe over there. And the most important thing that people can do to really help spread the word is to email these videos. This video right here, put it on your Facebook, put it on your Twitter, Truth Social, whatever, or just email it to 3 or 4 or 5 friends. Even if you've never done that before, it's going to make a big difference. If everybody watching emailed 5 people, there would be new viewers.
You know, I was telling you this morning about this experience at Dylan Reed, where an advertising executive was saying that word of mouth referral is the most important way of doing things. And then later, he cited it as being important in the fall of the Berlin Wall.
Oh, right, with the mimeograph.
Right.
Charles, look, they've already started construction on that.
On what?
This building, remember we saw they took down the whole, there's like a billboard on it. Yeah, they're going nuts on that. You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Want to get a water or something?
Yeah, I just want to stand for a second.
Go to Brian.
I'm fine, absolutely fine. Yeah, maybe go to Brian Park for a second.
So, this movie didn't seem to do as well as Warner Brothers hoped it would. I saw in the bit of the stupid movie industry news, they made a Batgirl movie, and it was so great they decided after spending like $90 million, they're not going to release it.
Huh. And they also decided after season 1 of Batshit Crazy Girl, Michelle Obama's series, they canceled that too.
What? Oh, what was that, on Netflix?
I don't know which one it was, but it just was so bad and the reviews were so horrible, they canceled it.
Man, that's got to be pretty bad, because I've seen some pretty terrible things on the TV and in movies.
There's got to be a back and forth going on in the Democrats between the Clintons and the Obamas and the Pelosi's and others for control of the heart and soul of what remains of the Democrat Party. So
that's a transit guy wearing a bulletproof vest. I've never seen that before. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, you're right. I wouldn't mind sitting in the park just for a second. I think it was all the sun.
You get dehydrated when you're sweating in a big Brooks Brothers jacket. And then people will think I'm trying to kill you or something.
You're not?
Well, not today. And then I get a lot of emails like, don't do this to Charles and don't make Charles do that. And it's like, listen, people, I have minuscule, if any, influence over anything that Charles does. I retain the ability to make suggestions that might be taken.
Considered.
Yeah.
No, I do listen, but I'm stubborn.
But I mean, the notion that I'm telling you to do something is just absurd. Oh yeah, so this thing, it's been determined is like a childhood vaccination site. And I think these guys are here to beat up people. Like, you guys are security for this site?
No, sir.
Okay, if that moron Levi shows up, you know what to do. He went in there and made a video with the NYPD with him, and they were trying to kick him out. Now, that's trespassing, because you're not allowed to make a video inside somebody's private business if they don't want you to. And that idiot, again, was hanging out with the NYPD and seemed to have their protection. I think he works for them.
Could be.
And it's interesting that they have those thugs as security now.
Oh, those were citizen journalists.
Those were Teamsters.
Makes getting their weed. We can sit actually right here. I
Sure.
think it might be easier. Back there.
But yeah, that's like, I think, a monkeypox vaccination site. Somebody was saying that monkeypox vaccine has the same, some kind of C-Pro in it or something.
Who knows? Stupid pro.
Well, I remember they were talking about C-Pro, I think, for anthrax around 9/11.
Right.
So it's some kind of super duper, we could sit over there.
Yeah.
Some kind of super
Even that
duper
table.
antibiotic.
Huh, I've never been back here before.
I think it's kind of new. Actually, yeah, that's better shade over there.
Or even there. Which was
Yeah.
better? There? Or there?
Right here in the shade. You want a shake from the Shake Shack?
No,
trucks?
no. I just think
Nancy Pelosi already has the shakes. She doesn't need the
that's
Shake Shack.
pathetic. I mean, just to send, you've got, the president has COVID. The vice president is an illiterate fool.
Yes.
The Treasury Secretary is crazy. The chairman of the Fed has lost his mind on inflation. And Nancy Pelosi is trying to pretend she's relevant while her husband's getting arraigned for a felony.
Isn't that great? Oh, I thought they said it's a misdemeanor.
Felony.
But weren't they trying to make it a misdemeanor?
I don't know, maybe. But just amazing. And that's our top leadership. Then you get, Mark Milley and Lloyd Austin and
China's getting ready to just take over everything. They're going to take Taiwan and just wait, because if we have no semiconductors and they can just wait. This is a
well, do you see
suffocation.
We've talked about this before, the Terman Bridge, the crossrougd. Russia has said they will support whatever China wants to do on Taiwan if China supports Russia's efforts to denazify Ukraine. So you can see that easily.
They already have. China already has.
But I'm saying even more aggressively. So now you got two people in the Security Council, with vetoes.
This is so badly played. I mean, this is literally like you took a 5-year-old baby and said you're going to play one-on-one against Michael Jordan and Shaquille O'Neal, and the baby can't speak, walk, or is smaller than a basketball.
Well, or you play Russian roulette with a 15-shot magazine with 15 shots in it.
Yeah.
On speed.
And Joe Biden gets to go first.
Yeah, exactly. But, well, people are too kind. And Tucker was kind of getting into this a little bit the last show I watched. I think it's far more malevolent or malign than what we're describing. I think what's going on here is that the Biden family, the Bush family, the Clinton family, to a lesser extent possibly the Obama family, the McConnell family, the Pelosi family, many senators, many reps, a lot of people of influence have sold out to China long ago. And they sold this country out too cheaply. And the big media operations, they definitely all need to make sure they stay on the right side of China, otherwise they can't broadcast inside China to what they believe will be the largest and most important market on earth. So it's not incompetence here. I think it's these people, there's been people talk about the Chinese have played the long game.
Yeah.
They thought this thing through, and we think about who's gotten rich off of this.
Well, also, hasn't China been around for 5,000 years or something, and we're 200? They're like, okay.
Well, so is Nancy Pelosi.
Exactly. She's been around for 200 years.
5,000. But
yeah,
he's a mummy.
With breast implants.
It was actually pretty funny. On the internet yesterday, they said something like, they had these different things. They're monitoring where her plane is, and another site would say they're monitoring where her broomstick is.
Yeah. They should have done an inventory of how much booze was on the plane.
Not much, not anymore.
Didn't she get yelled at by Trump for having too much booze on the plane?
Did she really?
I seem to remember that happened.
Really?
Yeah. The booze budget was like $50,000 per flight.
Per flight? That's a lot of booze.
We need to check it, but I remember it was something outrageous. Something shocking.
Well, I haven't been on a trip as long as to Taiwan in quite a while, since 2012.
When's the last time you drank $50,000 worth of booze? Your entire life, maybe?
Well, I've been at parties where more than that was served to a small number of people, but like $4,000 bottles of wines, that kind of stuff.
Right, that's crazy.
But she's drinking probably, what do they call that? Barwell standard drinks, off-brand.
Yeah,
$50,000 worth of
night train, and she's like in line in Journal Square.
Yeah, but can I get some more of that? What's this stuff called? The grain alcohol?
Yeah.
Grain alcohol, tequila shots.
When we were in college, where you're sort of apt to do stupid things, we had a Super Bowl party, and we decided it would be a good idea to make like grain alcohol, Jello shots, and so somebody had like a garbage can filled with just this weird boozy drink that was made. But we had to go to Jersey City to Journal Square to like the alcoholic bum store to get this certain type of liquor that you just couldn't even get in New York.
And that's the first time you met Nancy?
No, but it was the store. The guy was behind glass, you know, like with a shotgun there and everything. Right. And you just slip your money under the slit.
Nothing to worry about there.
Yeah, it
wow,
wasn't
that
safe.
feels good with the breeze.
It's nice, yeah.
But yeah, no, Nancy has screwed things up to it fairly well, and now there's a new front opening up in Serbia and Kosovo. There's concerns going on in Israel. Literally everywhere you might look is falling apart.
Something just happened here.
What's that?
No, I did something stupid that's going to screw us up. Let's back up the whole thing. Oh man, that was so stupid.
What'd you do?
I just hit something that's likely to screw it up. Let's see if I can get it back here. Check.
That's because you saw this guy here and you want to drop everything.
I think I got it back.
Huh? You back? You want to get a nice hairstyling move there?
I don't think so.
I'm good with the hair. I don't know. There's something confusing about this here. Oh, there we go. Ah, it's because I'm wearing sunglasses looking at an LCD screen. Okay.
I don't have that excuse.
Right. Okay, we're back in business, Charles.
Good.
So what else is happening in the larger sense of everything?
Well, we're worried about the state of the economy, and I think the market is properly worried about what China's going to do next, what the consequences are going to be for the wider world, what's going on in Europe. You know, the situation.
Yeah, it seems like that's taken a back seat now that Nancy's doing her thing.
Well, I mean, I think the water level's dropping on the Rhine River. You've got concerns about shipping coal to the coal plants, which don't have enough coal to begin with. You got concerns about Europe having to drop its production, particularly in Germany. And what will the consequences be to the various publicly traded shares of the big cap companies across Europe? What will be the consequences to the banks that are over leveraged, that don't have cheap funds from checking accounts the way our banks do in this country? So it's just it's like, you know, Biden was interviewing for the job of spinning plates. He and his family, the Biden family, the spinning Biden family, have got, you know, long experience spinning plates corruptly. And they said, all right, wind them up. You know, somebody said the Earth is now spinning more rapidly than ever before. How you'd know that, I don't know. Put a lot of dangerous landmines and other things on these spinning plates, and then go out and get shit-faced and smoke a lot of weed and take a lot of drugs, and that's what this cabinet's doing. You got Buttigieg is out there looking for racist roads.
He's so stupid. And you know, you can tell by the way he's talking. He's trying to sound, he's like, well, you know, he's got nothing to say, but he's like, you know, he's got to have that presidential kind of voice going.
Well, and there's all these polls. There was, you know, some Democratic person saying that the only person who can save the Democratic Party in
is
AOC.
You know what I would do with a poll?
Burn it. No, I think it would be. We'd have a being there candidate. You know, we would go retrace. We have like an America's Got No Talent. Interview all the hobos and the bums, and we get out. You know, put them through their paces. We get Simon Cowell off looking at singers, and we just dress up.
This is honestly a very good idea. Who wants to be the goddamn president?
Right, exactly.
And just have a show. Say, it doesn't matter how stupid you are. Look at the guy now.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on in. And Simon Cowell could be there like, you can't speak. You can't stand up. What the hell are you doing here? And right. Joe Biden would be like,
And you can see that you show, there's your crib. You got Camp David. You got the White House. You've got Air Force One. You got Marine One. You got, you know, you've got the presidential yacht, or if we still have that.
Do they still have that?
I don't know. You got the aircraft carriers. You got all this crap. You get your family all these sweetheart jobs, and you got the places you interview for it. The Chop in Portland, Seattle, Tenderloin.
Somebody said they legalized all drugs in maybe Oregon.
It's really sad. You know, actually my children on both sides of their family have direct descendants who got out and founded Laryssa's ancestors and mine both founded parts of Oregon, many of the different cities. Cousins ran the largest newspaper in Salem.
They're doing shrooms now.
Well, the whole place is a disaster. I mean, it's always been a bit weird out there.
Kind of like hippie.
But now it's just straight up stupid. You're stuck on stupid. You know, you could be guaranteed to be a senior person in Oregon government, Washington government. Did you notice, by the way, that Fat Boy, Gerald Nadler, was running against Carolyn Maloney? Their districts were combined or rejiggered or whatever. And Nadler's backers are really pissed at Maloney's backers. And this is internecine warfare. And they had a debate yesterday where Nadler was incoherent during the debate. He was literally doing what he did when the Mueller hearing. Remember, when he got up,
sleeping,
farting.
Oh my God! Whatever. I mean, all these people are so unqualified. I'm telling you, just who wants to be the president or who wants to be the whatever would almost undoubtedly result in a better moron.
And you could take it in the case of Gerald Nadler. It's not merely. I'm not. Some people can't get the weight off, and I understand it. But in his case, he's arrogant, stupid, and dangerous, and he's had several operations.
Well, he lost. What I was going to say, he had that surgery to connect his esophagus to his sphincter.
So was that exactly? It worked,
and he lost weight.
Yeah.
Now, Brad points out that I think you were talking about Boone's Farm.
Boone's Farm apple wine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nancy, that's Nancy.
Or maybe it's butter. What's the guy's name? Popcorn Sutton Moonshine. She could be drinking that.
Well, they have their own vineyard, or they have their own alcoholic enterprise.
Vineyard?
Yeah, that's the biggest problem is inventory shrinkage. I think I'm game to maybe walk down.
Okay, sure. Wherever you want to go to.
I mean, we can ask this guy where he got his hair done, and you can.
Yeah.
Hey, that looks nice up there.
Oh yeah, what is that? Is that the balcony
Valhalla, I guess.
The balcony for
No,
Shake
it says
Shack?
there's an entry. It says Valhalla.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Let's just take a look at the price list and see how expensive it is.
It's probably more your kind of restaurant.
I don't waste money on expensive restaurants.
Well, not wasting it if it's good, but this looks expensive.
I prefer to cook myself.
Bourbon, bacon, and cheddar. Hi, you guys look like this is a fancy restaurant. Oh wait, are you the Secret Service or something, or NYPD?
Yes.
Black Angus steak.
Make sure everybody's safe and secure.
But that's an NYPD pin, right?
Yes, it is.
So does that mean you work for the NYPD? Probably not, because you seem competent.
Probably was, but
You see my boys over there?
You
Oh,
getting
yeah,
ready
they're
for this
texting.
happy hour? Or?
So
So
how's
it's
it look?
$60 for a steak.
That's a lot. Black Angus, filet mignon.
Does that come with anything?
Oh, it's racist, obviously.
In that it's not white Angus?
It says it's roasted potatoes.
Everything's
and
$60.
seasonal vegetables.
60, 60. Yeah.
They're not good at math. So this
It
keeps
doesn't
it
seem that expensive actually for this neighborhood.
keeps it easy. I mean, the problem is, you're going to get some kind of 10% COVID fee, and restaurants have gotten.
Well, mozzarella salad for $25.
That's a lot.
That seems a little bit high. I bet you a drink is $20 or more.
Call Dr. Corsi. He only drinks $36 martinis.
Only
when I'm
one?
buying.
Well, you
No,
liked
he
it
had
then.
more than one.
Did he really?
Because I remember he ordered another one. I was like, whoa.
Good.
Hey, y'all guys, they just cops just killed. Y'all not recording the building, are y'all?
What?
We're going that way. We're recording that way.
No problem.
All right, thank you. You notice I didn't answer the question.
Yeah, because
We want to go that way.
don't worry about what we're doing, bro. It's open to the public. That means we can record there.
I don't know. Sometimes you see here. What does it say here? Notice.
I have not signed anything, and I didn't see that before I entered. So they can ask us to stop and leave, and that's fine.
Doesn't say anything.
Because it's
Doesn't
just
say
a
anything
policy
about-
that guy made up. There's a certain type of person who believes that if they don't want you to do something, you can't do it.
Yeah.
And if they want to do it, even if it's against the law, they start making crap up. Like, oh no, little kids are allowed to ride bicycles on the sidewalk. Really?
Yeah.
Because I looked it up and it says no person. So maybe your kid identifies. Right, your kid identifies as a. Well, what do they say now? It's a parasite until it comes out of the body. That's the pro-abortion is using that language that it's not a person because it wouldn't live without the mother, and then that makes it a parasite.
That's not true.
Well, that's what they say.
It's also not true.
I agree, but there's plenty of not true things.
No, I think we want to go this way.
Which? Oh, I thought you wanted to go into Bryant Park.
No. Babies are viable certainly outside the womb at 20 weeks.
Nancy Pelosi is not viable outside the womb at 82 years, but yet they're not terminating that pregnancy.
Yeah.
That's a late-term abortion, Charles. They've just decided to make Nancy Pelosi comfortable, speak to her mother, and have a doctor take care of this problem.
Yeah, she's really an atrocious human being, a liar, a cheat. And she did not have the best interest of this country at heart.
Of course, everything she's doing is just for herself. Hey, look, this bagel and smoked fish place is coming here.
Mark Zuckerberg?
Yeah, maybe.
Zucker Bagels?
And of course, weed world. It's becoming an entire weed universe. Oh yeah, so the 6th precinct told me that they are not allowed to, well, not that they're not allowed, they said they're just not prosecuting marijuana crimes.
Why not?
Well, we didn't get into that, but you know, the cops basically want me to take the beef to Eric Adams, which I'm happy to do. But you see, the way people who don't want to solve problems work is they complain and tell you about whose fault it is, whereas, you know, what I'm trying to do is just get all the people together who are saying it's this guy's fault, that guy's fault, and the other guy's fault,
right,
and say, look, all of you, shut up with this nonsense and let's figure out how to get something done.
Or, put it differently, nobody gets a paycheck till the problem's solved.
That's what I mean. And all these cops who, when I ask why are 5 police officers citing 4 peaceful individuals sitting at a table drinking beer when there's reckless maniacs about to cause serious bodily harm to people in the park, and they tell me to mind my business, I say, listen, you assholes, I've been paying taxes and live in this city for decades, and when I see city workers failing to do their job at my expense and danger, that is my business. So,
and their reaction?
You know, they threaten to beat me up and all that, but they're cops and they can't just randomly beat people up without creating a suitable pretext.
Yeah.
And I'm hopefully good at preventing the pretext from happening and getting right up to the edge. Like, in other words, don't dive on them. We see, like, that kid in the subway. Somebody said they let that 16-year-old kid go who was wailing on the cop.
I know.
How could they do that?
Well, they know that to get him through the system, get him, by the time he goes in front of the judge, to be all cleaned up.
And he'll cry that he's 16. But they have video of it. I mean, what we need is, we need the judge, we need the district attorney, we need the mayor, all the people who are saying, oh, go talk to this person. We need to get them all together in a room.
How does this place sell
linens?
sheets? How do you do that?
We don't have a minion now afternoon, only one.
I don't know.
How does that work? I thought churches were supposed to be, religious things were supposed to be not engaged in
Not
business.
to synagogue, that's different. Sell it.
The synagogue exception?
I think that they're pretty open to commerce. I don't know. I don't think whatever.
Well, there's special, actually, lack of reporting for religious charities. You don't have to fill out a 990.
Yeah. Well, same thing with the Emmys, apparently, or at least that's what they think. See, nobody is doing anything. If the government needs more money, they could literally just sit down a couple of people to watch our videos and just start going through some of these 990s and hit them with excise taxes. The Emmys would pay. I mean, why aren't they doing that? There's got to be a reason.
Well, because political campaigns are expensive. And most of the people who work in government have spouses who work in government. Take Lois Lerner. Her husband was a partner at a big law firm. So if you know, because of pillow talk, that you can whisper into your wife's ear and say, hey, don't make an issue of the Clinton Foundation. That's a nice look.
That's Jed. Beverly Hillbillies moving in.
Jed Clampett, yeah.
Your favorite.
I find that overpriced.
It's the driest, saltiest piece of crap I've ever eaten. Oh,
Doner kebab.
these can be good, but this might be, it's German.
German? I thought it was Turkish, no?
Yeah, but I think it's popular all throughout Europe, so I don't know. And like, I don't know that we've had any of those in New York before. It'd be interesting to try, probably junk food.
It'll be quite something if Victoria's Secret couldn't make a go of it on 34th and 6th, but Doner Kebab does a thriving business. What does it tell you
I don't know what
about how your taste changes as you age? Forget about the starlets, I want more Doner Kebab.
Right. That is a bit of a kind of a major deal that they closed that flagship store.
Across from Macy's. I mean, you would have thought there would be a lot of cross-fertilization between Macy's and Victoria's Secret.
More stuff closed.
I guess this is a big event space, right?
Yeah, this is Capital or something.
What is it?
I think it's Capital. I've been in there.
Have you? Gotham Hall.
Oh, well, it's hard for me to keep these things straight.
It
Capital is
rhymed with
further
Capital.
downtown. Whoops.
Right, Das Capital.
Well, a lot of air conditioning in there. Looks like they're getting ready for an event. You want to go ride the man lift? Here, they got one out here we can mess with. There's no way you get hurt on this, Charles.
Not me.
We are going to Mars. Not me.
Have a good time.
So this Taco Bell Cantina, they're popping up everywhere.
There's one around you.
I know, it's Taco Bell plus booze.
Oh, they have booze here?
That's the cantina part.
Isn't
I
that-
think,
I mean, why would you assume that people would want booze with Mexican food? Isn't that?
well, I mean, I think at a certain point they realized everybody coming in here is drunk anyway.
Would you see? The other day somebody was in a McDonald's and
Shot the guy because the fries were cold.
yeah, I mean, kind of
Yeah.
an extreme reaction for cold French fries.
Well, I mean, look, this is what happens when people feel like there's no repercussions. It's baby steps, crime increases, robbery increases. People who maybe weren't going to do crimes start doing crimes.
But
People who are doing petty crimes do more serious crimes.
But I mean, you have, let's contrast that. You've got somebody walks into McDonald's, dissatisfied that their fries are not hot enough, so shoot somebody. But when cops wrestle George Floyd to the ground and kill him, that's outrageous. I mean, it's the same sort of thing.
I guess the idea is that the person who shot the French fry guy wasn't a cop, and people have this mistaken idea that cops are going to be like more responsible or pay attention or actually do anything.
The moral of the story is that people.
Supersize those damn fries.
How did the guy get the gun? The guy who shot the French fry worker. How did he get the gun? Was it a legal gun?
Well, I don't know.
And what was George Floyd really doing?
Well, they said that he was eating fentanyl and stuff.
Well, wasn't George Floyd the one that knew the cop
Counterfeit.
from the side job? And
Yeah, and counterfeit money, and they had, we never heard, there's so many details of that we never heard the answer to. The 900,000 counterfeit $1 bills that had been seized just a few months before, him being involved in a job with Chowden,
right.
that thing having a check cashing business in it where they both worked, him trying to pass bad bills at a competitive check cashing business, and then every business in the area, including the Oddfellows building, burns down even though it was made of stone. What the hell is that?
I don't know. Well, then on top of which you have the January 6th absurd farce show trial.
Oh yeah, is that still going?
Of course.
See, I think it's really lost a lot of steam though, because people don't.
I think that's all it is. It's hot air, steam.
Right.
You're actually in his lane.
I didn't even.
I
was standing still though, so he could have crashed into me. But we should check out this inflatable, whatever that is.
You want to go for a ride?
I just want to see what it is.
Oh, okay.
So there's the Victoria's Secret, totally empty. Oh, that guy just, totally circumvented the sidewalk, everything.
There's a body of people who just doesn't give a shit about rules.
It's basically mostly everybody.
Most of the people in Congress, most of the people in politics.
Right. Well, that's what
Certainly
I'm saying.
Nancy Pelosi.
That's what I'm saying. And it starts from the top. Like I've said this before, when you go to Japan, not that Japan is the ideal society
No,
or
it's
perfect
not.
or anything like that, but they've got this part down as far as I'm concerned. You sit on the subway, you mind your own damn business. You're not hassling people or making noise or playing the radio or shaking people down or twerking or breakdancing or beating people up or making food or eating McDonald's or urinating or defecating. They just sit there quietly, maybe reading a book.
Well, they shove you into the trains.
That wasn't my experience when I was there. It was weird.
Here's John Kerry.
That
See him?
guy?
Yeah, John Kerry.
I didn't see him. That guy looked like he was trying to thrash into
Stumbling
these
drunk.
people. Yeah. It's electric bikes everywhere. So what do we have there? It's like a kid's bouncy house or something.
Pop in the city. There we have these kids selling candy. Just walk by us. Used to be you had this crazed guy who would dance on the sidewalk here.
I'm sure he'll be back.
He's in the Joe Biden cabinet.
So what's the latest stupid utterance from Joe Biden?
Thankfully nothing. What is he doing? I had heard that
Zoom
doctors,
calls.
doctors are concerned that he's got now a rough cough.
So what does that mean?
Well, just that they tried to say nothing's really wrong with him, and now they're saying, well, wait a minute, he's getting, every day that passes, there's one additional condition, new condition, suggesting that maybe things aren't going that well. And
So
he
are they
is.
prepping us for him to croak or something?
I don't know.
This is huge, Charles.
Martians have landed. I mean, I can leave you off there.
I don't-
Bounce around.
I don't want to go in there, but like if you were a parent, you put your kid in there, there's like a whole long thing where you have no idea where they are.
I wouldn't let a child of mine anywhere near. When you go through this park every day, as I used to,
That's what I mean.
I mean, the likelihood that somebody has taken a dump inside there is pretty high.
Taking up residence. Oh look, Horace Greeley has a bird on his head.
Appropriate.
I don't really understand what that inflatable thing is. I can't say that I've seen something like that just in the middle of a park in Manhattan before.
Yeah, it's a summer. Summer in the city. Tomorrow's going to be unbearably hot, apparently. Thank
Oh, is
God.
that right?
We got this over today. Actually, this is a good block to walk down here because you'll see
You
what
got a lot of shade.
Well, and you'll see what I see in the morning when I walk up here. I'll show you the collection of ne'er-do-wells. This is where the Chinese-owned bus thing stops right here. So you
There's a lot of those.
you have a lot of people here looking kind of sketchy.
Bring your chickens to Atlantic City bus.
Yeah, exactly. Chickens come home to roost bust. And
You and I have gotten to the point, Charles, where you can reference a particular bum and their location, their normal location in the city, and I'll know exactly who you're talking
I
about.
know, that's pretty sad. I bet you we're going to run into the Ainu guy.
What the hell is this lady talking about?
Something, I think she's saying Baltimore.
Oh, so she's gathering people for the bus, yeah.
So there's several junk stores around here where typically bums park themselves out front. And maybe there's shift change. We won't run into any right now.
But let's cross the street, though.
Well, they're
so-
on this side.
Oh, all right, but you're going to roast.
Just for a little bit, then we'll... Yeah, the 7-Eleven typically has people...
That's the bum consulate.
Well, for some reason, the bums are able to stand right in front of it.
This is bums running it.
Bums Rush. We could do that one, Jason. Bums Rush Hour. Bums Rush Hour 1, Bums Rush Hour 2. Rush Hour 1, 2, and 3 are actually pretty funny.
I don't think I saw 3.
They're the same idea.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It seems like all the same.
The best part of those movies, I think, are the outtakes. The
Yeah,
end.
I got a real issue with Brett Ratner.
I don't know much about him, if anything.
He's the director and a massive jackass.
He's the director of Jackass.
No, that's Jeff Tremaine. He's the Brett. He's the director of Rush Hour.
Rush Hour.
Ratner. But yeah.
Yeah, for some, I don't know how they do this, but for some reason, Rush Hours 1, 2, and 3 are constantly repeating on cable. You would have thought of all the
Sales.
movies that are out there, you wouldn't need to have those 3 movies every month on the same cable. Maybe not.
Somebody probably made a deal where they can own it and play it for a tremendous amount of time for very little money.
And Jason, if there's anybody in the audience, and I promise I don't have a financial interest in this business, who needs an IG,
Ig? What is an ig?
right over there, an IG. IGs,
Oh yeah,
missing the W.
right.
Missing a lot of that. I think it says wigs, hair pieces, 100% human hair.
That's definitely
That's
what you want.
basically the state of Nancy Pelosi's mind right there. Yeah. All the important letters are gone.
Right.
She can't make
They
common
don't
sense.
care.
They don't care at all. And that's where
AOC is going to save it. So, okay, we haven't been speaking very much about the whole Joe Manchin inflation bill.
well, that thing is going to get pulverized the way Ayman al-Zawahiri is getting pulverized. I think
I
there's
don't
a
think he did. Show me the dead
know.
guy.
well, the way they allege he got pulverized. They're going. There's a way. It's called the Bird Rule, and using this
From
bird,
the KKK guy.
yeah, but it's something to you can't attach irrelevant legislation to the main bill, and they're going to try to argue that, and they may succeed in doing so. We'll see.
Hasn't every single thing that's ever passed had irrelevant litigation attached?
Not necessarily by reconciliation, the way they're trying to do it. It was only 60 votes. There's a special way they're trying to do it to avoid the possibility of a filibuster. And to do it in that way, you can't do what they're trying to do. So we'll see if Mitch McConnell has any remaining stones. I think we both know the answer to that question.
Yeah,
Ixnay.
Dude's made of jelly.
It's made in China.
Made of Chinese jelly.
Well, his wife.
Can we do this?
You want to get a COVID test, Jay?
I think we should go to
Well,
the right.
I think he's just the next
Okay.
corner, and then I'll be able to.
Oh, we're still looking for the
We're on the hunt for this guy to see if he's
bum hunters.
still alive. Yeah. Well, isn't there a movie like that? There's Something Hunters.
Battle. I don't know.
Somebody got in trouble
Nazi
for that, right?
hunters. Yeah, the guy that I know, his brother was in charge of it, and he went to jail for a
He ran
crazy
the
long
country.
time.
Bum battle.
Bum battle.
That's Joe Biden.
Well, it was they just would pay homeless guys to beat the crap out of each other and sell videos of it, and it became very popular. This was like just pre-internet initially.
This
And
gentleman here.
they got in trouble for
Interesting hair.
unlicensed prize fighting. This looks like a very young dog.
Be careful. Yeah, here we have the guy in question,
Oh,
or at least his
Where?
shit. His pile is there. I don't know if he's still there. He may be getting a sauna
he's
or
on lunch, right?
yeah, the bar, or at Bungo Teas Inc.
So this Korean barbecue reopened.
Well, you head there once a week.
Nah, I think I
Twice?
mentioned I don't really like Korean food. Just traumatized by the trip to
So you're
Korea.
Asian phobe?
No,
Yeah, this
I just-
poor guy has been here
there-
living on the street on that box. I guess he's taking a break somewhere. Just filthy.
It's got cups filled with either urine or beer or something.
But yeah, he's generally on the on his haunches, doing this, like putting his head down and smoking a cigarette. And
That doesn't
he's
seem
out
like
there
a
with his
very.
shirt off in the winter and the summer.
It doesn't seem good, Charles.
It's not. And now we can make a right when the light changes. We can probably make a right.
I think it's somewhat depressing for people to see what's going on in New York City, but it is important. And also, what we've been doing, it's not about one report, you know,
Right.
as we've walked around and, you know, the whole climate is,
It's our
devolved.
It's our podcastography.
yeah,
Well, actually, there is a hopeful thing that I wanted to cover.
that's good.
Which is
Let's do that.
close on a hopeful note. We can pretend it's a sermon, you know, whatever they do in
And then we're gonna have to get robbed of millions of dollars of jewelry.
That's why you're here.
Yeah.
Rob him. He's got the iPhones. Anyway, Larry Doyle of the Clinton Foundation whistleblowers alerted me to the fact that Durham has hired a new prosecutor who has experience. It's on my Twitter feed, and I've gotten back. I made a stupid error for people who are wondering why I went dark on Facebook and Twitter and other sites. I left my phone. I was on one of these walks. I was walking around, and I didn't realize that my phone had run out of juice, and then I was too stubborn to get glasses or something to try to read the fine print on the phone. So I hit something by accident. What I hit
So sure you want to destroy this phone?
well,
Yeah.
it was to reset the whole thing.
Yeah.
And so I did that.
Oh.
And I had to figure out how to get it back together, and that took a fair amount of time. Then a lot of my both Twitter, a lot of the ones I use on social
All
media.
the passwords get wiped
Well, they're
out.
ancient because on my phone it's permanently on, and I just never have to
Yeah.
remember what it is. So it just took me some extra time. I got a few messages from people who were concerned that something had happened to me or my father or whatever. Thanks for your concern. But no, it was just stupid error on my part. Anyway, on my Twitter feed now, there is the name of the guy, the description of him, and given that the Durham trial for Danchenko is happening in October, it's interesting that he would go and hire this new prosecutor, because these are he's an expert on Foreign Agent Registration Act violation, maybe on fraud, maybe on charity fraud. So a hopeful sign that Durham would be adding to his staff, specifically prosecutors with the type of expertise that would be very helpful if you wanted to actually nuke the Clinton Foundation and nuke a lot of other false front charities. So I'm hoping that it may happen after the election, for fear that on the prosecutor's part that they don't want to unfairly influence the November 22 election. But I'm hoping that after years and years of waiting, that we're going to finally see progress here. I believe it's publicly been stated by Larry Doyle that they met with Durham's team years ago.
Wow.
So what we learn is that if you want to get something done quickly, don't ask the government to
Right.
do it, unless it's persecute your enemies,
Right.
your
Even
common
that.
political enemies. Well, that they'll do. Your
Slow and
no,
protracted.
with Roger Stone, they'll go right to your
That's
house.
true. That's true. Kick in the door.
Right, Paul Manafort.
It's just reprehensible.
Steve
though,
Bannon.
The whole
They'll
way
do
they act.
that.
But one more thing on Danchenko. There was something yesterday or the day before where he is now, I think, moving to relocate the trial because he's saying he can't get a fair trial
in America.
in Virginia because they have Ukrainian flags all over the court and it's anti-Russian.
Well,
And I think that's true.
Well, I think you can't get a fair trial in Washington, D.C. if
You
you're
can't get a fair
Republican.
trial, right? You can't get a fair trial in New York. You can't get a fair trial in Virginia.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
But you can. I think what happened in 2016, I believe there was political interference in that election too, but there just wasn't enough to stop Trump. In 2020, in Wisconsin, there's been a very important development.
What'd they say?
Where they said that they're moving to try to decertify the results of the 2020 Wisconsin vote.
Does it even matter at this point?
I don't know, but the point is that, in the same way now, mainstream media are finally admitting that there was something to the Hunter Biden laptop. And
Right.
that, you know, maybe as we get closer to 2022, and as we learn what happens in the election, if midterms are a blowout for Republicans, conservative Republicans, which I think they will be, and against incumbents in both parties, maybe the recriminations will be such that it will be in the common interest of anti-rhino Republicans and, let's say, Obama supporters to knife the Clintons. Not
Maybe.
with a real knife, but politically,
Yeah.
to clear the deck in the Democratic Party for the Obama people to control that until they succeed in fundamentally changing America for the worse.
Well, I think they've done that.
Succeed, they haven't done.
Well, fundamentally change it for the worse,
Careful.
is what I'm saying. Well, all right, so we're almost out of runway here, Charles, but I want to remind everybody that if you did not see last night's episode of the Counter Lawfare Fund, there's been a huge breakthrough, and I'll be covering the second part of it tonight. People can sponsor the Counter Lawfare Fund by going to crowdsourcethetruth.org. I'm having a little problem with crowdsourcethetruth.com right now. I'll restore that as soon as I can. But crowdsourcethetruth.org, if you sponsor the Counter Lawfare Fund for $1,000, you're going to get a gift of a limited edition, giant-sized signed poster of the Knockout in Motor City image. And of course, people can still see last night's episode of the Counter Lawfare Report, and tonight will be the follow-up. The Knockout Punch will be described in detail, so don't miss that. And thanks for tuning in, everybody. Thanks, Charles, for another great episode.
Thank you.
And stay safe, everybody. And